guys, what's up? It's Joe Ready from Rady's Rides. We got ourselves into a little trouble doing some filming with the police. I guess it was bound to come down to something like that, but of course we're not in trouble. What are you thinking? We're not doing anything wrong. We're here, we're guests of Ford. We're bringing you the all-new 2020 Ford Interceptor Utility vehicle, that Ford Explorer Interceptor Utility, all new for 2020. And the biggest news is that hybrid technology. So underneath the hood, you're gonna have a 3.3 liter V6 with that hybrid technology that's going to bring you some amazing savings as taxpayers. Because remember, at the end of the day, all these amazing vehicles that Ford produces for police departments across the country has all been funded by taxpayer dollars. But let's talk a little bit of history about Ford and police departments. Believe it or not, Ford was the first to produce a police package. That was all the way back in 1950. The term interceptor was first used in 1951 when Ford had a high-performance flathead V8 that had a little over 100 horsepower in their police interceptors. The name has continued for so many years, and since 2011 was a big year because that was the year that the Ford Crown Victoria, the Crown Vic, was discontinued from the lineup. Now Ford continues to make amazing vehicles. Believe it or not, for 2017, 65% of the sales in the United States was all Ford products going to your local police departments. But we're gonna stay here and we're gonna focus on the all-new 2020 Ford Explorer Interceptor Utility because there's some amazing things going on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the front. Right off the bat, this thing looks menacing. I know I would not want to get pulled over or anything else involved with this police utility vehicle. I love the styling that Ford has done with the headlights. Very nicely shaped, very sinister look, all LED style. You can see as we drop down, you have functional air curtains. So air is going to hit the front fascia and then it's going to channel air down the side of the vehicle, because that's one of these things, is that trying to boost MPGs. As we go across the front, you can see the massive brush bar that's here with all the lighting. There's that new Explorer grille with the iconic Ford logo, but I really think in black with the light bar flashing, this thing looks menacing. I really also want to point out up on the hood, I like all the body lines that they're now putting into the hood on the new 2020 Explorer. Remember, those are going to be hitting the dealers very soon. And of course, here on Rady's Rides and Walker Ford, we're going to be bringing that to you very shortly. When we come around to the side, I like the flat black around the fender well. Check out the wheel. So this wheel is very, very strong. This car can hit an 8-inch curb with no problem. Go up on it. It could also, at 30 miles an hour, take a railroad crossing or up onto a median. So this thing is made for durability, for strength. If you're wondering, well, what's the size of this wheel? This is an 18-inch steel wheel, tire 255 with a 60 series tire on the sidewall. So plenty of meat to get the traction. Now, speaking of traction, all of these come with the full all-time all-wheel drive intelligent system that's going to help transfer the power to the ground for the officer to keep them safe, because that's another thing. There's a lot of safety features in here to keep the officers safe. As we go down the side, you can see your flood lamps that are on both driver and passenger side, nicely placed. I like the way they blend in. You do have lighting in the side mirrors. And then as we drop down, there it is, that hybrid technology. Here's a little fun fact for you. Did you know about 61% of a police officer's shift, the car is idling? With the car idling to power all the technology inside, that takes a lot of fuel. With the hybrid, guess what? That's no longer going to be a problem, because with that lithium-ion battery, that's going to help charge and keep everything good inside the vehicle so that the vehicle doesn't have to be running. At the end of the day, you're looking at about a savings of $5,000 a year in fuel costs for each one of these vehicles. As we go down the side, I just love the police script, that interceptor, such a famous word, such a famous name on a vehicle, all brought to you by Ford. Very low light bar made by Welland, that Welland Corporation. Here's another fun fact. You see this corporation here, Welland? They're actually sponsoring a race team in the IMSA WeatherTech series. So there's a prototype race car, Cadillac prototype race car, that actually is sponsored by that company. So cool to see. What does that company do? Because I've always wondered that, like, what do they make? They sponsor this race car, it takes a lot of money. That's what they're producing. As we go back to the rear of the new Explorer, I love the LED lighting behind the glass. I love this rear quarter window too. I think it's very smart that the shape that they use, and then they blacked it out with a little bit of gloss black, makes it look all one piece. As we come around to the rear of the vehicle, you can see the new design for the Explorer. I like the roof mounted spoiler, little bit of an extra design in there. You can see all the lighting. These are the lights you don't want to see at the end of the day, but you know what? There's plenty of times when, if you're ever in trouble and you do see these lights, it's a good thing. But I know a lot of times we get pulled over, we don't want to see the lights, but hey, it is what it is. Wrapping out the back, there's that famous name again, Police Interceptor, added since 1951. This one has that whole tow package. So with the hybrid technology and everything, this thing could tow up to 5,000 pounds. Also, when it comes to rear crash sustainability, the Department of Transportation says 50 miles per hour, that this should take a hit of 50 miles per hour. Guess what? Ford doesn't believe with just going at the minimum. They've actually raised the bar. This could take a hit at 75 miles an hour to keep the passengers, the police officers, safe. But I like just how smooth it is. There's that hybrid all-wheel drive badge, nice and sleek. Let's go ahead, pop the hood, and check out that new engine that's powering this Police Interceptor. All right, guys, we got the hood popped on the new Ford Explorer, that 2020 Police Interceptor. What you're looking at, that's that 3.3 liter V6 hybrid setup. So if you're wondering, well, what kind of MPGs are police officers going to get, and how is that going to save taxpayers dollars at the end of the day? This thing gets a combined 24 miles per gallon. That is a 40% increase. And like I said, each vehicle, it's going to save us around $5,000 a year in fuel costs. Like I mentioned earlier, this has the intelligent full-time all-wheel drive system. And what's amazing about this hybrid setup, it's faster. They tested it against the 3.7 liter model, and you're looking at, this thing has a faster top speed, 137 miles an hour, faster 0 to 60, faster 0 to 100. It also, if you're wondering, well, if the road gets flooded, can this vehicle get through? Yes. In 18 inches of water, this Explorer can travel at 15 miles an hour. If it's 10 inches of water, you're looking at 40 miles an hour. And like I said earlier, it can tow up to 5,000 pounds. You can see the massive strut tower brace. Of course, with the Police Interceptors, you get larger cooling because of all the heavy duty work that these vehicles are going to take, and increased braking as well. So this is going to perform like no other Explorer before it, and really no other Police Interceptor before it. But why don't we go ahead and we're going to check out the interior of this 2020 Explorer Interceptor. All right, guys, we're inside the 2020 Interceptor Utility. I tell you, this is a nice place for officers. You know, they are out there to protect and to serve, and they have a nice environment to where they can be safe, also comfortable, and also do their job the best that they can. Let's start at the door panels. So when you look at the door panels, yes, there's going to be a lot of black. This is a work service vehicle, so I'm okay with that. If you notice, they put a decal saying ballistic panel, so there is some protection for the officers when it comes to being fired upon inside the vehicle. And that's another great thing about this sport utility, is when it comes to this Explorer Interceptor, it's not just about the performance, but it's also about protecting the officer. You can see they actually have softer material up on the dash. You got your handles for the lights, very easy to get to. Soft, very soft material, which is really great to see, because remember, this Explorer is going to wind up in your garage. It may not have the light bar and the brush bar on the front, but you know what? It's going to have some of these other materials. Now, of course, you're going to get the whole radar and laser setup for the officer to be able to catch those people that speed. I know that's not you, and I know that's not me, so we don't have to worry about that, but do be aware this is the setup that they are running. And then, of course, they're going to keep everything simple in here. You don't need a big infotainment system or anything like that. You do have the operating radio. You have wonderful AC controls, nice and slim, easy to get to the knobs and whatnot for the officer. electric parking brake, and then here's where this is going to be all different. This is something that is specific for the officer to go through their different settings with the vehicle. If they need to turn on the lights, the horn, they have a USB and they have a 12 volt nicely placed. Like I was telling you earlier, Wheeling, this is that company that produces a lot of the gear for police departments. You got your radio controls right there, nicely set. More USB, and then an armrest. Now, the armrest is just simple and functional just for them to be able to put a place for their arm. They flip it up, and then of course you're gonna have your dual cup holders for the officer, and then the seats. Seats have a higher grade fabric material to take that wear in and out. The bolstering is very low. That was done on purpose. The reason why is to help with getting out and getting into the vehicle for the officers, because remember, you're wearing your belt and all that kind of good stuff, and you don't want to have to jump over a hump of a bolster. When you look at the flooring, no carpet, easy cleanup, nice for the officers to keep their vehicles clean. And you know, that's one of the things that is part of the responsibility, is that they have to have not only the interior, but the exterior of the vehicle needs to be clean. But why don't you come over to the business end and I'll show you behind the wheel of this Interceptor. All right, guys, here we are behind the wheel. I want to talk a little bit more about safety, because for Ford, it's about getting that MPG number higher with the hybrid setup. It's also about keeping the officer safe so that they could go home each and every day. So like we pointed out, the ballistic panel that's going to help protect them in the doors. Obviously, all doors are going to have that material that's been added in there for protection. This has a police perimeter package. Say that 10 times fast. Triple P, police perimeter package. What that means is that when the officer is sitting, there are motion sensors that are going to be able to detect 270 degrees around this vehicle. What it will do is it will calibrate any motion that seems to be threatening. If it views it to be threatening, what will happen is it will alert a chime to the officer. The rear view camera will automatically come on. All windows will go up and the doors will lock. And then the police officer could then track the trace movement of that threat around the vehicle. Just another way to keep them safe. Also, when it comes to the rear view camera, this has the ability to the police officer can select that rear view camera at any time to see what's going out behind. Now, when it comes to the driving seat, the seat is nice and supportive and comfortable. I'm 6 feet tall, so in that new Explorer, lots of headroom. And then, of course, it's gonna be just the business side of things happening. So very durable rubber urethane material. Simple radio controls, and then there's our dash set out with an analog tach, analog speedometer, and then of course you have that information system in the center where you could toggle through all different settings. This is also going to have, of course, all the safety features that you find in your regular vehicle is going to be here for the driver. The lane keep assist, collision warning, all that kind of setup is very nice. But why don't we go ahead and check out one place that you probably never want to wind up in, the back seat of this Interceptor. All right, guys, that place that I definitely don't ever want to be, but I'm sitting here right now, the back seat of this 2020 Ford Explorer Interceptor Utility. You can see the heavy grade vinyl. This is going to help with cleanup. People could be back here spitting, urinating, doing God knows what. This is going to help the officer keep that area clean. The seats are actually very comfortable. So if you do wind up in the back, just know that you are going to get a comfortable ride to jail. So that's a wonderful feeling, I guess. Door panels. You think that the front door panels were simple? The back door panels obviously are ultra simple. No controls to get in and out, because when you get put back here, you're going to a place where you don't want to go. So this isn't about pleasure driving the family around. It's about taking the criminal to the jail, to where they belong. Back of the seat, nice hard plastic. You know, if you have somebody who's being unruly and they want to punch and kick and all that kind of stuff, they could do it without damaging the seat. You have the same, no carpet back here, and you can see the metal structure for all of the electronics and whatnot that is in the center hump area here. Remember, all Ford Explorers are at least rear-wheel drive, no more front-wheel drive. This one, though, has the intelligent all-wheel drive system. But like I said, sitting back here, if you're going to be arrested, ask for a 2020 Interceptor Utility vehicle to take you in, because at least you're going to be comfortable. Well, why don't we go ahead and check out the cargo area and see what can officers put back there. All right, guys, we lifted the tailgate portion of this 2020 Explorer Utility vehicle. Amazing amount of room that we have back here. Obviously, when you get yours from Walker Ford or your local Ford dealership, you'll be able to have the same great amount of space. Those seats are going to fold down really just nice and flat and give you lots of room. One thing I want to point out, because this is the hybrid, is you can see where we have that technology back here underneath the rear panel, easily stowed away. It's not going to compromise your space when you're bringing things in and out of your Explorer. So it's nice to see that Ford was able to work that in without affecting any of the dimensions of the back. Of course, the third row is not located in here. We don't need that for officer duty, but just great to see Ford take their product not only for civilian use, but also improving on it for the police officers that protect and service each and every day. But if you're ready, I'm ready to take this out on the course. Let's go ahead and take this for a spin.
Yep, it'll have instant torque.
Oh yeah.
Left turn, immediate right, immediate left, immediate right, acceleration, immediate braking, right turn, offset to the right. The next offset's a little tighter than this one. Acceleration, hard left.
All right, guys, it's been an amazing day here with Ford and the new 2020 Interceptor Utility. These are the things that I know you love to see on Rady's Rides, and guess what? We will continue to bring them to you. Amazing experience. I'm so glad to share it with you. But at the end of the day, if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, leave a comment in that comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us here at Rady's Rides keep to make great content for you, get yourself some merch. Click the link in the description, takes you right to Spreadshirt. We're very appreciative. I got to give it up to Big Guns McGee, Tom Moschner. He's loving this. He's thinking about becoming a police officer today. So we'll see if he signs up. I'm sure he's still going to be working the camera, but Tom, I wish you the best on your police endeavors. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.